What's up, nerd family? Welcome once again to the Poindexter Lounge. My name is Enosh, aka Enosh Vet, and holy crap! I told you yesterday, we talked about it. There was got to be more to this whole story with Ray Fisher tweeting out against Joss Whedon. I've seen people go on about how it was unprofessional. I've seen people talk about various things, but I told you guys yesterday. I released a video yesterday, and I told you guys yesterday, there has got to be more to this story. Now, first of all, before we get into this, I want to apologize if I sound like weird or I look weird. My whole left side is numb right now. I just had a root canal this morning when this all dropped. Yes, I was sitting there in the dentist chair when all of a sudden this information pops up. I get the notification of a tweet, and oh my gosh, Ray Fisher. So look, yesterday we had this information. The tweet that came out yesterday where Ray comes out and he says, I want to take back everything that I said, all this positive stuff, that Joss is just a nice guy. He says, I'm like seriously taking back everything in this video. And we watched that video. We talked about that video, that like just him saying that Joss is a good guy. He's saying he's taking back. And then today, this drops. And so I'm going to give it to you, mouth half numb, everything, all numbed up, because that's what we do here in the Poindexter Lounge. We get right to it. And hello to everybody watching. What's up, Trey? What's up, Dranreb? I think it is. Jeremy Harris, what's going on? I tell you what, this is something else. Jeremy says, I can't wait for this documentary, right? There has got to be like some crazy story behind all of this for sure. So let's break this down. This is what he said today. So yesterday he went on, like I said, he made the statement, I'd like to take a moment to forcefully retract every bit of this statement. And he went on, of course, in there, and we talked about the fact that you look at him, he's like looking around almost for somebody to support him when he said what he said before about how Joss was a good guy and he was the right guy for Zack Snyder to pass the baton to, basically, and take the reins of the movie. And man, Jason Momoa is just sitting there like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about, but that ain't right. You can just see it in his eyes, man. You can see it's like this very uncomfortable thing. And then today, oh my goodness, I told you guys yesterday, there's got to be more to this story. And here today, Ray Fisher drops the bomb, and he says, Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of the cast and crew of Justice League was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. I'm really love saying peas right now with this numb face. But hey, he says it was that Joss was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. He was enabled in many ways by Jeff Johns and John Berg. And then he puts accountability greater than entertainment. Look, we know from just the stories already on the set that they already had issues with Joss and some of the women on the set, especially Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot felt very uncomfortable around Joss. This came out. Gal even with the scene that Joss put in the movie, which was just a dumb scene of the Flash falling on top of Wonder Woman into her cleavage, and she didn't even want to do the scene, and she refused to shoot the scene. So when you watch the movie, that's not Gal Gadot laying there with the Flash in her cleavage. That is the stunt double. That is another actress portraying Wonder Woman at that point, because Gal Gadot refused to do it. So that's one thing. And now we're getting this, that Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of the cast and crew of Justice League was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. He was enabled in many ways by Jeff Johns and John Berg. Now, we know that Jeff Johns really tried to come in and change this whole thing, did not like Snyder's vision for this. Jeff Johns really wanted to undermine everything Zack did, and went out of his way to do that. And now we're getting confirmation that that is exactly what happened, and that Joss was part of it. Everybody has kind of put Joss in this other thing. Well, like Joss was just there to help. Joss was just trying to help everybody and get the movie done. And they portrayed Joss up to this point as being, you know, like Zach's friend and just wanted to get the movie out. But you got to consider, look, reports are all over the place. They started off at saying that only 25% of Zach's work has been in the movie. I've seen some people talking about that it's upwards of literally 80 to 90% of the movie is Joss Whedon. That by the time we see the Snyder Cut, we are going to see such a completely different film that it's not going to even be recognizable as Joss Whedon's movie. Like, you're not going to see any of that. You know, we did a video here on the channel with the council talking about, like, what are parts of Joss Whedon's movie that we're going to miss now that is not going to be in this movie? Because if you're talking about replacing, you know, upwards 80, 90% of a film, holy crap, right? I mean, there's no other way to put it. That's a completely different movie. And so now we've got this Joss Whedon. I am now interested in exactly how Joss Whedon is going to answer this. Is Joss Whedon going to answer this? Is anybody going to say anything about this? Because nobody said anything after Ray Fisher dropped that bomb yesterday, and now it's been kind of quiet. So the question is, what's going to happen? You know, what is going to be said about this? Is this going to be a continuing thing? Because like I said yesterday, I knew right away that there was going to be some kind of story that goes up with this. So, but I'm interested to hear what you guys say. I see a lot of you guys in the comment section, and let's see. Jeremy says, Jason's face kills me every time. I know, man. That look on Jason Momoa's face when Ray says what he says about, you know, how great Joss was and everything, you can just see it all over Jason's face. Jason is just like, I don't want any part of that. Ray is looking to him for some kind of, you know, support here, and Jason's just like, no, I don't even care about any of that stuff. Plus, look here, Joss did not do any promotion for the movie, and nobody, not one actor or actress involved in Justice League has come forward in any of this to support Joss Whedon's version of the film, or to say, hey, we thank Joss for what he did, but we just want to see Zach's. None of that. All the focus is on Zach. Absolutely, all of the focus is on Zach. None of it has been on Joss. Everybody has just basically been silent when it comes to Joss. And you would think that if Joss did such a great job, if Joss had some kind of camaraderie with everybody, that somebody would have spoken up at this point and said, hey, you know, Joss was a good guy. He made a good movie, but they did that during the press tour, because what are you going to say? Are you going to come out during the press tour and go, look, Joss was very abusive and we hated working with him and he was absolute garbage to work with? No, you're not going to say that. But that's apparently what happened. And I'm just telling you, looking from the outside, you can see it. You can see it all over the film. You can see it all over from the actors and everything who are involved in it. Let's see. Let's go on. Shout out from the Philippines. What's up, Philippines? I love the Philippines. We got a lot of great people watching from the Philippines. So Jeremy also said, okay, so the Jason face thing. That's why Gal didn't want to do the scene of the Flash. Exactly. What's up, Truth 31? Vasanth Kumar says, this means war, man. Tons of respect to Ray. Look, you know what? So I've seen a lot of people harping on Ray this last couple days, saying, well, it was unprofessional. He shouldn't have acted like that. People shouldn't say stuff like that. Look, the truth is the truth. And I said this earlier this week, and I have been standing by this. I have a friend who told me this, and she's a therapist and a counselor, friend of mine, and we were having a conversation about families and the fact that, like, mixed families, right? You know, like in mixed families, you don't really want to throw the other, I hope that you don't want to throw the other parents under the bus when it comes to certain situations. You know, you don't want to try to make the other parents look bad just to make yourself look good, because that's not healthy. That's not healthy for anybody. And usually that is the kind of thing that you would do. But she said there comes a point when the truth is the truth. And she says, as much as I'm a proponent for being protective of not, just spilling everything, she mentioned that the truth is the truth, and the truth has to be told. And folks, this really seems like the truth. I'll be honest with you. It seems to be, to be this camaraderie thing with the cast of Justice League, that they're all standing behind this this idea. I'm interested to see if anybody else is going to come out and support Ray Fisher. Look, I've said it time and time again. Ever since Zack Snyder said that Ray Fisher's version of Cyborg was the heart of his Justice League movie, I said this is something completely different. This is completely Joss like totally undid what Zack did. Because look, you watch the Justice League movie that we have now, and honestly, where's Cyborg? Cyborg is such a side character that doesn't do anything. Yes, he's supposed to be, this important part with the mother boxes and everything, but he doesn't do anything. He doesn't have a huge part and role in the movie. The movie doesn't have to have Cyborg in it, other than the fact that he's connected to the mother boxes. But you don't even get that full backstory of like how he was created and why he was created, and to care about him. And we saw all kinds of stuff in trailers and in featurettes and stuff moving towards the movie that were not in the movie. And that's frustrating. It's very frustrating, to be quite honest with you. Because if Cyborg was supposed to be the heart of the movie, there should have been a lot more Cyborg. We should have had a lot more information about Cyborg. Dran Reb says, well, that explains the underwhelming booyah of Cyborg. Right? Robin0805 says, the assistant director of Justice League and the stunt double of Gal, and even the actress who portrayed Cyborg's mother, supported Ray Fisher's previous post about Joss Whedon. And that's the thing. It's going to be interesting to see who else comes forward. Right? Who else comes forward and says, hey, this was wrong. What Joss Whedon did here was wrong. That Joss Whedon is not necessarily the nice guy that everybody's been making him out to be. That, he was just trying to do a good job by taking over. But literally, with the help of Jeff Johns and others, tried to take over this whole thing. Tried to absolutely destroy what Zack Snyder had hoped to accomplish with Jeff Johns and John Berg. And I agree totally with Ray Fisher. Accountability is greater than entertainment. And I'm just telling you that compared to what I believe we're going to see from the Snyder Cut, Joss Whedon's version of Justice League isn't even going to be entertainment by the time the whole thing's done. It's just going to be just there, and we're just going to be like, nah, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. Even the parts that I love, because there's parts of that movie that I love that I know are Joss Whedon. Like I've talked about at the end with the Flash and Superman racing. That's a comic book moment that I loved seeing. But look, I will gladly sacrifice that. Look, it'll always be there if I want to watch it, but I'll gladly sacrifice it if it means we get something great out of Zack Snyder and Zack Snyder's real vision. Danger Zone says there was no booyah in Snyder Cut. That's what was said. Kavari says, didn't Snyder told fans that his cut was finished at panel he hosted in 2019, but yet he needs $130 million to finish? Now listen, so Kavari, I'm actually doing a video of my first reaction, my initial reaction. I'm going to do a reaction to my initial thoughts of the information that came out about Justice League. When Zack, I'm drinking, but it's like hard because I'm drinking out of half my mouth because of the root canal that I had this morning. So for those of you joining late, if my mouth looks weird or if I'm slurring my speech, that's why, because I had a root canal and all this is numb right now. It's just kind of right there. Anyways, I rewatched my initial reactions, my initial thoughts of the fact that when Zack Snyder stepped down initially. And the information, and I had kind of forgot this, the information that came out at the time was Zack Snyder's movie was mostly done. That was the absolute information. I had to go back and re-look at it and look at some of the things. It wasn't Zack Snyder just coming out saying the thing was done. It was saying it was done at that time. It was said at the time that Joss would be doing some pickup shots, rewriting a couple of scenes, but it was only supposed to be a couple of scenes that needed to be completed. It was mostly done. because they were on they were on their way to the end of the film. Do you understand? They were on their way to the end. They were going into post production, okay, which takes up a lot of the money for a film. A lot of the money for a film goes into post production. You gotta work you gotta do color correcting. You gotta do special effects alone, guys. So the thing is when we talk about, and I don't know where $130 million. I don't know. I don't know about all that, but even if it costs $130 million to finish, we don't know. It just when you say you got a finished movie, he had a cut. And I've explained this many times, just as I'm a musician and I do go in and I do a song. When I record a song, you record all the parts. All the parts are there. I've got a song. I've definitely got a song. The song is done. It's recorded, but it's got to be mixed. It's got to be mastered. You got to go in and you got to tweak it. And I'm telling you right now, the least favorite part of recording a song for me, or recording an album, is having to go in and mix and master stuff, because it takes forever and it takes probably the most effort. Because if you're a musician, if you're a good musician, you can go in, you play the parts, you're done. But you got to go in and you got to tweak everything, and you got to listen for stuff, and you got to add effects to instruments, and you got to move stuff and listen to stuff over and over again, and you're making mix after mix after mix and listening to it in various sound systems and in your car and everywhere. And then finally you agree on this is the mix. And then you have to have it mastered. It has to be EQ'd properly for broadcast and other things. So when we talk about, yes, he needed if he needs $130 million, I don't care. I mean, it started off at 20 million, then 30 million, and then people were talking 70 million. And that's the first time I've ever heard 130 million. But even if that's true, all that says is not that we don't have a finished product, or not that the pieces weren't there to finish it. What it says is they're taking this seriously. And they're putting extra money into it, because I guarantee you right now there's going to be reshoots. There's going to be, because I guarantee you that we're not just getting whatever was the original, we're getting expanded, because they have plans. And that's it. I guarantee when you're talking a 4-hour film or 4-hour miniseries or whatever it ends up being by the time it's done, I guarantee you that there will be more to this whole thing than just what originally Zach was planning, but that there will be extra, because they have plans to move forward with the DCEU. They have plans on HBO Max and everything. Look, they're going to be combining DC Universe with HBO Max, and I planned on doing a video about this, but I just got an email. Anybody who has DC Universe got this email. Basically, they're just saying, they haven't said that we're combining them yet, but they're like, hey, for an extra $5, you can get HBO Max too. Right? Add it to your DC universe. So for a while they'll combine those. But look, they've already sent Doom Patrol over there, and it's on both. It's on both DC universe, which I was very happy about, because I was really ticked off first and thought that they were just sending Doom Patrol on, but they're not. They sent Doom Patrol on to HBO Max. Now they're sending Harley Quinn to HBO Max. They sent Swamp Thing to HBO Max. They're sending all these other things to HBO Max. I guarantee you by the time we get a Titans season 3. It'll be on HBO Max as well. Okay, it's just going to happen. And I guarantee you that if DC Universe sticks around, it'll be mostly comic books. It'll be mostly that kind of thing. And maybe some video too, but it'll be different probably. And all the major properties will be on HBO Max in their own DC category. But that's just what it is. That's just what it is. So no matter how much money they put into this, it doesn't mean that the thing's not done, Kavari. It doesn't mean that the thing is not, no, Titans does not belong to Netflix. Titans never has been on Netflix, nor will it be on Netflix. Titans is on DC Universe. So, Hector, I don't want DC Universe to go away either. I felt that they should have invested in DC Universe, or, you know what? Or I guess part of me says, okay, you could take DC Universe and put it into HBO Max if you want to go the DC or the Disney Plus route, because Disney Plus, kind of has everything. So they've got their sections. They got Star Wars, they got Marvel, they got that kind of stuff, whatever. But I got into DC Universe with the expectation of this was going to be all things DC. And then all of a sudden they started shopping out DC stuff to other channels and stuff like that. And ticked me off. You know, as long as they don't force me to do something, I'm okay with it for right now. So let's move on to some other comments here. Robin 0805 says the post on where Fisher reacted his words on Whedon. Squidmaster says the dam has broken. Either the cast or crew will come forward soon or throw Ray under the bus. I guarantee you Ray's not going under the bus. From my half-numb mouth to you, Ray is not going under the bus. If anything, people will come forward, and I almost guarantee you Gal Gadot will be one of them, one of the first, because of her experience. I can tell you right now, I just have this feeling that that's where it's going to go. That's what's going to happen, and we'll have to just wait and see. But I agree with you. The dam has broken. It is straight up. We're going to have a completely different thought on Joss Whedon going forward, because if this is all true, this is not good. What's up, Gabe? Good to see you, brother, in the chat room there. Vacnan here says even Joss's wife called him out for being a fake feminist. Kavari says WB should have manned up and fired Snyder after BB. Well, Kavari, no. You know I love you, man. You know I give you a fair shake, but no, not at all. BVS was the top selling Blu-ray for over 5 weeks when they released the director's cut. When they released the Ultimate Edition, it was not Zack Snyder's fault that the theatrical version was the way it was. That was Warner Brothers. Zack Snyder did nothing wrong. People love Batman v Superman. I got drilled in the face today. And as I got drilled in the face today, literally the lady sitting there doing the suction and everything out of my mouth was talking about how she loves Batman v Superman. She's not even a comic book person. She says her sister loves Batman. Her sister is like a huge Batman fan. And she's like telling me, this is the average person. And that's what people forget. Look, you can be a comic book fan all you want, but the average person are the people going to see these movies, and who decides this stuff, okay? It ain't the fans. The fans are going to go no matter what. You're going to go, I don't care if you hate it, like it, whatever, okay? It ain't going to matter. You're going to go see this movie. But you know what? Chelsea, when Chelsea's sitting there going, what was the movie with all the bad guys in it? And, Suicide Squad? Suicide Squad. I love that movie. I saw Batman v Superman, and I love that movie. So yes, the theatrical version of Batman v Superman might not have been good, but here's the thing: the version, the expanded version, which still Zack Snyder has said there's still more footage of that could have made that movie even better than what it was. But that Ultimate Edition is fantastic. That Ultimate Edition spent 5 weeks. 5 weeks, over a month. #1 Blu-ray selling movie. Just saying, somebody likes it. So no, you don't fire the guy after doing that. The guy had a vision. The Snyder Cut is coming, and it's going to be great. Let's see here. Man of Martian. Man of Martian. Hey, Man of Martian. I remember Man of Martian. What's up, Man of Martian? Good to see you. When BVS released, Snyder was already in production for JL. Absolutely. They were moving right along because Zack Snyder had his vision, man. They were moving right along. But unfortunately, Warner Brothers was trying to cut everybody off at the knees. They were trying to cut Zack Snyder off at the knees. And so they rushed in. When Zack had the tragedy that he had in his life, they reveled in that. They were so excited that they could finally have their way. And now we're seeing Jeff Johns. Yes, Jeff Johns was slimy, was snaky, was underhanded, and you can see it all over him. Coming in, just wanting to take it away from Zack. Wanting to make sure that he had his way with it and could do something different with it and make his plans for what he wanted. And you know what? It's backfired on him now. Because where's Zack and where's Jeff? But I tell you what, it ticks me off. It ticks me off now to know as a fan that Zack Snyder, that they use Zack Snyder's tragedy. They could have stepped back. They could have said, you know what? Let's step back from this. Let's let Zack have his time to heal and come back and finish his movie. And they didn't do that. They literally, and it's on record, folks, that Warner Brothers, the executives who were there, they're no longer there now. Those people who were in charge are no longer there. But the people who were in charge at the time, they simply moved forward with Justice League, knowing full well what was going on, knowing full well the changes that they had made and that they had an inferior movie. They did it so they could get their year-end bonus. That is bullcrap. That is garbage to know that they simply moved forward with that movie, not because it was a good movie, not because they believed in it, not because they give a crap. They didn't give a crap about about DC. Warner Brothers has not given a crap about DC for a long time. They talk a big talk about, oh, we want Superman to succeed. We want Batman to succeed. They just think it's automatic cash. When they put out a Batman movie, they don't care about the quality of that Batman movie. They just, we are so lucky. You don't know how lucky we are that Nolan made the trilogy that he made, because that is completely by accident, because Warner Brothers can't put two and two together. They can't build a rock on a rock. Look at what they did with the development hell that Superman was for so long. We almost got Nicolas Cage as Superman. Okay? By the time, and you want to talk about $130 million for Zack Snyder's Justice League? You know how much money they ended up spending in development of a Superman movie by the time the Superman Returns came out? There was no way that movie was ever going to technically make money, because they put on that movie the development cost of like 2 or 3 other Superman movies. So Superman Returns was never going to make its money back. And I'm not saying that Superman Returns is the greatest thing, because I've had issues with it for a long time. But that's how Warner Brothers acts. That's their history, folks. Warner Brothers hasn't, I will say this, has not given a crap about DC. It has taken AT&T coming in and saying, no, there is money to be made here, yes, but we have to put out a good product that people want. We have to put out something that is going to show good faith to the fans. And that's what they're finally starting to do. And we're going to get it all, folks. You people that don't like the DCEU, first of all, I feel sorry for you, because the DCEU is rich in story and background and the actors and just the goodness of it all. That it's rooted and grounded in a realism and serious, and the philosophy behind Zack Snyder's vision is absolutely amazing. But if you don't like it, and you want, a different take on it, that's fine. You're going to have Robert Pattinson Batman to hold you by. I'm telling you, you guys got to wait. But we are getting Ben Affleck back as Batman in the DCEU. The DCEU will continue. It will continue. Whether it's on HBO Max, but we're also getting, it's going to continue in film, though, as well. Because we know that. Because we're getting Wonder Woman. Whenever it does come out, whenever the theaters open again, we're going to get Wonder Woman. We're going to get another Aquaman. We're going to get the Flashpoint movie. We're getting these movies. We're getting Shazam. We're getting Black Adam. Those are all in the DCEU. It's not going away. You think I'm mad now? Wait till you see the video that I tried to post last night that still has to go out about the stupid Star Wars rumors. If you joined us for our live stream last night of Stargirl, you already know I'm fired up about this. I'm sick and tired of people making fake news, and just because they don't like something, throwing everything under the bus and acting like that it's bad. That's a bunch of garbage. Caleb says, I have some stuff to say about this. People are saying Ray was being unprofessional with that tweet. How is it unprofessional to call out unprofessionalism from others? Exactly. The truth is the truth, and Caleb knows it, and I love that about Caleb. Ray was being a stand-up guy defending his fellow cast and crew. I've heard people say, hash this out behind the scenes. No, the only way to stop abuse is to confront the abuser out in the open. And I agree. If that's what Joss Whedon has been doing, hey, meet Joss Whedon. That's what you do. You have to yes. And by the way, I just saw the question, is Stargirl good? Stargirl is really good. It's much better than I thought it was, and that's a Jeff Johns thing, and I still say it's good. So there you go. But look, if you got to call things the way they are, right? And the truth is the truth. And if the truth is he was abusive to the cast, and that he was throwing people under the bus, and that he just didn't care about people, and he was doing stupid stuff like having the flash fall into Gal Gadot's cleavage, that's garbage. That's garbage and needs to be stopped. Let's see here. I hope they keep the comics, animation, and TV show archive. I do too on DC Universe. Absolutely. Hector says it's on Netflix overseas. Yes, you're right. It is. Titans is on Netflix overseas just because DC Universe was not overseas. You are correct about that. I will give you that, Hector. Here in the United States, it is not. It has nothing to do with it. So. Yes, and a lot of you guys are pointing that out. You are correct. You are correct. Look, see, I can admit when I'm wrong. There's a lot of people who can't admit when they're wrong. I misspoke. You are absolutely correct. It was on Netflix overseas. The Truth 31. I totally agree. He says Jason Momoa is going to unleash hell when he speaks. LOL. I cannot wait for that. Oh, are you kidding me? Look. Jason Momoa is... Can we just talk about Jason Momoa for a second? Jason Momoa is awesome. Jason Momoa is fantastic. Jason Momoa is going to tell it the way it is. Jason Momoa will not stand idly by. He has been one of the biggest supporters of getting the Snyder Cut. Look, for all of you Snyder Cut haters, for all the people who don't want to see the Snyder Cut, for all the people who don't care about the Snyder Cut or whatever, here's the thing. You know what? Argue with the actors who were actually in the film. Ask the actors which version is better. After the fact, when they're not getting paid to stand up and go, oh yes, we want this cut. No, they have been actively pursuing this cut. Jason Momoa has been actively pursuing this Snyder Cut, wanting Snyder's vision to come out. Gal Gadot has actively been saying we want the Snyder Cut. Ray Fisher has been actively saying we want the Snyder Cut. Even Ezra Miller has talked about how yes, that Snyder's version was something special. So don't give me this like everybody's like, oh, I don't like it and it's bad and blah 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 blah. The people involved even wanted to see this. The people involved are telling you that these problems were happening behind the scenes. Listen to the people involved. I saw a great tweet today, and I retweeted it on the Poindexter Lounge Twitter. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. We're on there. Please follow us. All those links are always in our description below. We want you to be a part of us beyond the videos even. But check this out. I retweeted this, and I thought it was fantastic. Somebody tweeted some negative thing, about this, saying, oh, leave Joss Whedon alone. It was like the old Britney Spears thing. Leave Joss Whedon alone. Oh, poor Joss Whedon. Look, I understand that he made some great content that people loved in the past, but you can't live off the past. And if you treat people like crap, you're going to get called on your crap. And somebody retweeted and said, it was something to the effect basically of listen to the people who actually, like the guy worked with him. Ray Fisher worked on the movie. Like he's talking from his experience. He's not talking from your fandom, right? So just because you're a fan of somebody doesn't make somebody great. I used to love Kevin Spacey. I thought Kevin Spacey was great as Lex Luthor. He was one of the better parts of Superman Returns. He's done some amazing movies. Turns out Kevin Spacey's not the greatest guy. Just saying. How many Weinstein movies did you watch that you liked? I still get an uncomfortable feeling now whenever I watch a movie and that the Weinstein Company logo pops up. Right? So stop trying to defend people just because you like them. Jeez. Squidmaster agreed with the Truth 31, absolutely. Cristiano says the extended cut of BVS is great. The theatrical cut, not so much. Exactly. Ambassador, what's up, Ambassador? Good to have you in the chat today. Okay, here we go with Kavari. If I said I wasn't excited for his cut of JL, I would be lying. I hate the fact that we keep holding on to the past. I'm guessing the past when you said past. and not looking towards the future of DC. This is the future of DC. See, Kavari, that's what people are missing. This is the future. The future is all lanes, and that's a good thing. You're going to get Pattinson Batman, which is its own thing. For some reason, we're getting a sequel to the Joker, which I like the Joker, but I don't understand how it's going to get a sequel. But they're doing that, so you're going to get a sequel to the Joker. You're going to get these other films that are going to be standalone films. But then you're also, for those of us who love the DCEU, we're going to get that too. There are going to be multiple movies, multiple versions of things. That's only a good thing. You can't look at it as a negative thing just because everything is not going to be the one thing that you like. That's what we got to remember. It's not about just making the one thing that I like or that you like or whatever. It is about making something for everyone. And that's what the multiverse does. If you like that version of the squeaky clean version of Superman or whatever. Look, I think that when Henry Cavill comes back and we see him as Superman more, and we're going to see him as more. Look, we're getting more Henry Cavill. We're going to get more Ben Affleck. It's just going to happen. I'm just going to put it out there. It's happening. Okay? I can't tell you everything, but it's happening. But the thing is that when we get that, you're going to see Henry Cavill as the Superman I think that we all love. And I think at that point, a lot of these people who want to see that stuff, they will come around and they'll say, okay, I see the story arc, hopefully. Or maybe they'll say, I don't like what came before, but I like what is here now. But you're going to get different versions. It's going to be okay. It's all right. It's all right for there to be multiple things, stuff that you like and stuff that I like. Ambassador says, uh-oh, Enosh is mad. We're in trouble. I'll tell you what, man. You get me fired up about something, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it real quick. Cristiano says they use Zach. Absolutely. That's coming out now more and more. More and more. Man of Martian says there is no future without Zach finishing what he started. Absolutely agreed. That we got to get that out of the way. We got to move on from there. They use Zach's family tragedy as a cover-up for him being fired. That is so bad, it's unbelievable. I totally agree with you, Cristiano. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. They tried to act like, well, he's just stepping down or whatever, and Zach did it to save face because he didn't want to upset anybody. But you know what? They fired him. They use it as an excuse to fire him, and that is absolutely wrong. It's absolute garbage. Maytember 57th says this is sacrilegious considering that there is justice in the name of the movie. Right there, well, it's justice in the name of the movie, but Zach didn't get justice. They didn't treat Zach with any justice, and apparently Joss didn't treat any of the Justice League with any justice or any respect. The True 31 says Warner Media and AT&T are now the big dogs in charge. Thank God. Absolutely. 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 Caleb Richardson says Zack Snyder's vision was never supposed to be a DCEU. Zack Snyder wanted to tell a Superman-centric story. Warner Brothers was like, hey, put Batman and Wonder Woman in the Man of Steel sequel. Zack was like, okay. I think, see, and I've heard Zack talk, though, and it seems like Zack wanted to put some of those things in there, that it wasn't just I know the overall it was a Superman story, but it involved all those people. And I think that Zack I don't think that Zack was forced to do a lot of those things. I feel that Zack was on board with those ideas. Caleb goes on, he says, and then Warner Brothers started to take over more and more, and Zack obliged on some things and fought back on others. Well, I mean, that's part of the movie going process, right? The movie making process, I should say. The ambassador says, I hate what Warner Brothers did to Snyder. Even as a Marvel fan, I want to see the Snyder Cut. Why? Because I like Snyder's style as a creative. His films are excellent, and I agree with that. That's a great comment, Ambassador. Caleb says, but eventually Warner Brothers just took Justice League and utterly destroyed his vision. Yes. Truth 31 says Zack Snyder wanted to tell a 5-story arc, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, 3 Justice League films, and that was going to be the end of it. Yes, that was his whole thing. Batman was supposed to die, so it's going to be interesting to see where they put it. Ambassador says, I'll wait for Stargirl to come out on DVD or Blu-ray. Yeah, I mean, either way, it's going to be it's interesting to see where it's going. It's getting really good, actually. Kavari says, I hate the fact that some of these toxic fans wants Walter Hamada's vision to fail so Snyder can return. Walter Hamada didn't have a vision, dude. That's the problem. Come on, man. You know I love you. You know I've respected you, Kavari. You know, man, and I've had your back even on some things, man, because I love you and I'm glad you're here. But dude, Walter Hamada has no vision whatsoever. Walter Hamada never had a vision or a plan for this stuff. The only person who had a vision and a plan for where DC was going was Zack Snyder. That's it. This idea that Walter Hamada was going to lead Warner Brothers and lead DC into some golden age is absolute just not true. It's just not true. Nothing points in that direction at all, man. Michael Castillo. What's up, Michael Castillo? The actress who played Cyborg's mother, the actress who stood in for Gal Gadot in that uncomfortable scene with The Flash, and Batman's stunt double all support Ray's claim on Joss Whedon. And that's saying more and more people are going to come out. This is going to be a huge story now for a while. This is gonna add even more fuel to the fact that that we needed the Snyder Cut. Ambassador says Jason Momoa was a straight up beast as Aquaman. Absolutely. I love that film. I'd love to do a watch party for Aquaman with Enosh. Ooh, that would be fun. That would be fun. If you don't know, the Ambassador has a great channel. You guys should go check him out. He does lots of cool movie stuff. Tiffany and I did a whole commentary thing where we talked about Jurassic Park, like in general, like all the movies and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. So that would be a fun collaboration to do, Ambassador. Adrian says, I'm probably Snyder Cut. I'm down. Michael Castillo says, Joss's Justice League had Cyborg wearing a jumpsuit for a majority of the movie, when in Zack's version had him in all Cyborg mode. Yeah, that was something that like why is he wearing a jumpsuit? He's Cyborg. Like, I mean, I get it. He's trying to go out in public. He's trying to keep it on low key and everything. But Zack Snyder's movie is going to be a true Justice League movie. We didn't get a true Justice League movie. We got a bunch of little parts kind of pieced together with weird red coloring is what we got. Jason Momoa made Aquaman cool again. The charisma speaks by itself. The only correction I would probably say to that is I don't ever really remember Aquaman being cool the first time. I totally get what you're saying, man. I feel so weird having to take a drink with my lip being completely numb. If you just joined us, I had a root canal today. But see, that's how dedicated I am to this medium, to talking about this stuff. But yeah, it feels weird. But yeah, no, man, Jason Momoa just straight up made Aquaman cool. That's just it. And who would have ever thought that would have happened, right? Cylon Scotty. What's up, Cylon Scotty? How you doing, bro? He says, I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer and loved Joss for years, but hey, things change and people change. They're also human and not always perfect. Exactly. Look, we loved Buffy. We loved Serenity. Love those things, but come on, right? I mean, like if you're going to come out and start treating people like this and doing this and come to find out that this is how things are going now, you got to get called out on it. I'm sorry. You do something stupid. That's why people have been like, well, why do you say this stuff about like Jodie's Corner and about Andy Signore? Because the truth is the truth. And sometimes you got to point out some things. And if nobody points it out, people just go on. People just go on talking about stuff. People say, why are you calling out Mike Zero? Because Mike Zero does stuff that's stupid and is actually damaging the fandom. Because people watch a Mike Zero video and they think, oh, Steven Spielberg's going to come in and save Star Wars? And Brie Larson wants to burn Star Wars to the ground? Well, I'm never watching a Brie Larson movie ever again. But I'm so excited that Steven Spielberg's coming in and they're going to bring Ezra Bridger into Rise of Skywalker. That's going to be awesome. And I'm going to tell all my friends. And then they go see the movie and they're like, wait a second. That wasn't in the movie. And then they go back to Mike Zero. Mike Zero says, well, everything got cut out because Kathleen Kennedy is the devil. And, and it's just cyclical. It just goes around and people just start spreading that stuff. It's just like all this stupid Star Wars stuff. You're going to get me riled up again about the Star Wars stuff. It's just like all the stupid Star Wars stuff that stupid Doomcock came out with a couple days ago. Talking about that the whole, sequel trilogy is going to go away and blah, 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 and it's going to, wear my bucket on my head. And, make sure that you subscribe because subscribers get taken away. That doesn't happen. That's bullcrap. Go away, Doomcock. That's a bunch of garbage. It's just not true. It's just not true. So people got to be called on their crap. Man of Martian says Cyborg has 4 freaking arms in Zack Snyder's Justice League. That alone has me freaking out for the Snyder Cut. I love it. I love it. I love it. Sequel to Joker. Yeah, they're talking about a sequel to the Joker. I don't know how they're going to do it. But, originally they said, no sequel, no sequel. We're not going to do a sequel. No sequel, no sequel. But now Joaquin Phoenix, you make $1 billion on a movie like that was only $50 million to make, right? That's going to get a sequel of some kind. I don't know how, especially with that ending. I don't know how, if you haven't seen it, but that is, what it is. Let's see here. Ambassador says, Silent Scotty, I'm a Buffy fan myself, but you're right. We're not any of us perfect, and that includes those in entertainment industry. Amshri, what's up, Amshri? He says, told you at Enosh, Jeff Johns and John Berg are the snakes. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Snakes in the grass. Just looking for a reason to just take over from Zack Snyder and to undercut everything that he tried to do. Jason Granger, what's up, brother? Caleb says it's not 100% confirmed, but both Joaquin Phoenix and the director of Joker said they'd be open to a sequel. Yeah, and I've heard that they're actively pursuing it and trying to figure it out right now. Jason Granger says, don't pirate the Snyder Cut. That's right. When the Snyder Cut comes out, you watch that thing. I don't care if you have to pay for 2 months of HBO Max and you don't want anything else on HBO Max. You pay for that sucker. Or you wait till it comes out on DVD. Do not pirate this thing. That's going to be the next thing is all these people who hate the Snyder Cut, they're just gonna go try to pirate it. Don't do that. I know, Shri. I wish that we didn't have to say that, but there's always gonna be people here who who say that. He said, Jason says, I'm late here, but how much do you think Whedon's treatment of the cast impacted Batfleck's decision to at least temporarily leave? Whew. And I'll tell you what, I know that Jason is in here, and I know that Caleb is in here. I think that the council needs to talk about this very topic right here. This is the big topic of the week. And I got another guy from Lightcast, Matt from Lightcast, who wants to come do a thing. Maybe we can do something Friday. But yeah, look, Affleck was already going through a bunch of crap. How much do you think this affected him after doing that? Like, I wouldn't want to come back if everybody's abusive. And like, you could see it. The movie just kind of droned on at some point, and you could see that the actors just weren't really into it. Vincent says, I hope Darkseid gets a lot of screen time in the future and we see him interact with other characters besides the Justice League. That'd be nice. I'm not sure how much we're going to get to see him in the Snyder Cut itself, but it sounds like we're going to get, a decent amount. He's not the main villain, obviously, but, but I'm excited to see that. The ambassador says, here's the crazy thing. It took AT&T to right the ship on the DCEU and tell WB, give the fans what they want, right? Like, that's just... Because Warner Brothers, this major movie studio that has so much history and so much everything, they can't get it right when it comes to freaking comic book movies. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. So right. Omshri says, now I'm 100% never want to watch that snake stuff just to watch Justice Society of America. I will wait till Black Adam to watch the real JSA. I get it, Omshri. Look, entertainment is entertainment, right? And sometimes there's stuff that you're going to like. Look, Jeff Johns is not necessarily, he's not writing the thing. He's not over the day-to-day things with Stargirl. Look, Leah Thompson just directed last night's episode of Stargirl. I love Leah Thompson, all right? I've hugged that woman. When I was getting my root canal this morning, they popped in a movie. I got to watch Red Dawn. while I was getting my root canal. Talk about the easiest root canal ever. I've had a root canal before, but man, this was super easy. I just sat there and watched Red Dawn, and Leah Thompson popped up, and I just kept thinking, I've hugged that woman. That woman is such a sweet lady. And last night's episode was really good. So, you know, I'm trying not to take that approach to it, that like just because somebody's involved with something that I'm just not going to, you know, even look at it. I'm going to look at things on a case by case basis. And I think that's what we got to do. We got to look at things on a case by case basis. Obviously, Jeff Johns, you know, he created Stargirl. So there's that. Not to say, I'm not going to demonize everything Jeff Johns does, but Jeff Johns obviously screwed up Justice League and screwed up the DC universe, the DCEU. So you gotta. Truth is truth. Truth goes both ways, right? I say truth goes both ways. When people, like even Andy Signore, I talked about on my Andy Signore video yesterday. There are some things that he's doing on his new channel that I think are great, that I think are fine. But there's a bunch of stuff that he's doing on his channel that's a bunch of garbage, and he needs to stop with the clickbait stuff and saying, "Oh, should I leave, you know, YouTube?" It's like he doesn't want to leave YouTube. It was just an announcement to make another channel. So stop trying to reel people in with something and then fake them out because you know that you're going to get certain types of people to come watch you. Excuse me. The truth says, if any of you find people pirate Zack Snyder's Justice League, we will boom tube you to apocalypse. Yes. Ambassador says, Vincent N. I agree. Darkseid has such potential as a villain. He might even trump Thanos. I agree with that. Much better villain overall. But it'll be interesting to see how he is portrayed. Man of Martian says Affleck signed a new contract. Batfleck is back, baby. I know. That's what everybody's reporting. Man of Martian, and I cannot wait to see like the actual like announcement. Which I'm just telling you guys, keep an eye out. There's some stuff coming up that you're going to want to be looking for. I would just suggest that if you can, don't just wait for DC fandom. There's a little thing called Justice Con coming up. I will just tell you, pay attention to Justice Con. From what I'm hearing. Caleb says, I've heard WB is considering selling DC. Please do that, WB. I'd take some fresh creators taking the reins of DC Comics, DC TV, and DC Films over WB and the current heads of DC Comics screwing up. So here's the thing. There was some talk about that. AT&T is not going to let that happen. AT&T is in charge now, right? You got to remember that, Caleb. AT&T is not going to let that happen. There's too much money in DC, and that's what AT&T is finally seeing. That if we put out good product, people will buy it because people love DC. They just don't like all the crap that Warner Brothers has been giving them. So there's that, okay? So I'm just telling you, yeah. The DC is not gonna leave Warner Brothers, and the thing is the old guard of Warner Brothers, yes, but this new AT&T stuff, I say we got to stick with it. Caleb says, "My God, I'm so glad we're not getting 5G. That was such a dumb idea." Cristiano asks, "Are you a fan of the Watchmen movie?" Absolutely, absolutely. I love Watchmen. That's a great movie, and I wasn't even like a big fan of Watchmen before the movie, but after that movie, man, you know, I fell in love with it just watching the movie, and obviously the comics and everything, just fantastic. I have not seen all of the HBO Watchmen yet, but when I get HBO Max, I plan on catching up on that. Trey says, I never knew how much I liked Aquaman until I watched the movie. And that's the thing. There was so much in that Aquaman movie that's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Dang, why don't we like Aquaman again? I mean, he just got made fun of all the time for just, you know, talking to fish. But it's definitely not a fair shake. Definitely not a fair shake. And guys, I just love the fact that people feel empowered right now. And I would say this to everyone watching right now. Be happy with the fact that we are empowered right now, and that even the actors feel empowered, that somebody like Ray Fisher can come out and say, you know what? No, this is what we went through. You guys don't understand. You don't know what we went through on that Justice League movie. You don't know how we were treated. This is how we were treated. This is what happened. Just saying. Where am I at? Oh yeah, the ambassador says, Cristiano, I loved Watchmen. Had the director's cut on Blu-ray. Says I thought, and the ambassador says I saw it in the theater and even went back to read the trade. What's up, South Cali Guy 87? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Ambassador says, don't get me started on DC. He has gone sewage level content. Caleb says, like, we get it. The sequels weren't perfect, but remember, the prequels weren't perfect and the originals weren't perfect. Gasp. Yeah, burn me for heresy. Oh, I think you guys are, you're talking about Doomcock and that crap. Jason says, count me in on the council. All right, let's put it together, brother. Do you think the rumor that Sophia Boutella as Grail is true? I really don't know, man. I couldn't tell you. I haven't really heard a lot about that rumor yet, so I can't really speak to it. Bro, just imagine Usus fighting the freaking Greek gods and lanterns for 10 minutes. I know, Wasabi. Wasabi, I'm looking so forward to that. Come on, it's going to be awesome. We're getting Darkseid. Darkseid. It's going to be great. I mean, how can you be a DC fan? Look, I don't understand this. You say you're not a DCEU fan? Okay. Say that. You don't like Zack Snyder's vision. You don't like that. But we're getting Darkseid. How can you be a DC fan and not be excited about the fact that we're finally getting Darkseid like in live action and you're going to get to see it and it's going to be amazing and you just know it, but you don't want to accept it. What the frick, man? Like, how can you not enjoy that? How can you not enjoy that? I don't understand that. Come on, folks. The best says, Caleb, nope, I won't hate someone for their opinion. No movie had been perfect, even Star Wars, but in spite of its imperfections, has been a huge part of everyone's life. And that's what I love about you, Ambassador. I know we disagree about the Last Jedi and stuff, but you know what? But you're right. We got to look at it overall. And overall, Star Wars, man, it means something. Overall, I don't want them to start like picking and choosing just because some fans don't like this and some fans don't like that. And that's another reason why they're not going to do that. And spoiler for my next video, but you're going to want to check out my next video because I straight up go off on Doomcock. But here's a little preview for you. Disney is not going to totally trash and do away with a sequel trilogy that they have invested billions of dollars in, not just the movies, but also attractions, theme parks, rides, stories, backstories, books that are still leading into those things, and all kinds of other historical things that are leading. They are not going to do away with the sequel trilogy. I don't care if you don't like it or not. I don't care if you look, if you didn't like the sequel trilogy, I get it. You don't like it. But this ain't happening. Just ain't happening. Not even with the explanation given. Because DC, this ties it back to DC. DC has a multiverse. Star Wars does not. Doomcock goes off in that video talking about, like, there's multiple Luke Skywalkers, and there's multiple Palpatines, and there's multiple Reys. No, there's not. I don't think Doomcock actually even watched Rebels and actually even saw the episode about the veil beyond the Force and the whole thing. That was about time travel. It was about being able to go to different points in time. When he saved Ahsoka, he did not save a different version of Ahsoka. He saved the Ahsoka that was there in the Sith temple at the same time. They didn't pull out a different Ahsoka and see another Ahsoka walk by or another Ezra walk by. It was the same guy. There's not a multiverse. And look, Rise of Skywalker straight up says Palpatine died. He did not go and go into the world between worlds. That is not it. He did not go into the world between worlds. He died. He straight up tells Ben within the first 5 minutes of the movie. Obviously, people were still munching on their popcorn and taking slurps off their drink because they weren't listening to the dialogue. Because Palpatine straight up says, I was dead. He was brought back to life through cloning, which was later talked about in the movie. It's in the movie. It's not just in the book. In the book, they go into it a whole lot more. But in the movie, they straight up ask, how can Palpatine return? And he says straight up. They talk about it straight up and say, through cloning and Sith alchemy. It happened. He did not go into the world between worlds. That's not how that works. Sorry. Just because Doomcock makes up some crap doesn't mean that it's true. Even if it sounds like a cool theory. No, you know what? It's fine as a theory, but don't go around telling everybody this crap. I know people, good, smart, honest people, who just don't like the sequel trilogy and they want this to be true, but it's not true. Don't believe the hype, because you're literally supporting a con artist and a liar. Just saying. That's all I'm saying. You're supporting a con artist and a liar. And Silent Scotty, I saw yours because it pops up here on the screen here, and I got the computer here looking at it, and so I know I need to catch up with some more. But I saw yours, Silent Scotty, and yeah, I got some opinions about this because, man, I'm telling you right now, this is just like it's worse than Mike Zero. Because this has actually gotten traction. Newsweek did an article about it. And I had a friend actually like message me the Newsweek article and say, oh, look, it's in Newsweek. But apparently, like, even in Newsweek, they said it's not true. They just wanted to hype it up. And I just don't understand. Like, should we all just go making up lies just so that we can get publicity? Because I can tell you whatever you want to hear. What do you guys want to hear? What do you guys want to hear today? You know, Luke Skywalker is coming back. They're going to de-age Mark Hamill, and Luke Skywalker is going to come back and start a Jedi Academy in a sequel to The Mandalorian, where like Luke is going around and he's looking for Baby Yoda the whole time because he knows that Baby Yoda exists because he's one with the Force and he's the greatest Jedi that ever lived, and he's got more powers than anything. And he can reach across the galaxy and he's communicating with Baby Yoda, but Baby Yoda doesn't understand it yet. And so Baby Yoda doesn't know that he's destined to be the greatest Jedi ever because Baby Yoda is actually the long-lost son of Yoda himself. And come to find out, his name is actually Yoder. Yes, Yoder. But Baby Yoda doesn't know that. And poor Yoda, he died not knowing that he had a son from the old Jedi Master Yaddle, who put him into seclusion and made sure that he was taken care of, because Yaddle went into the world between worlds before she died and was killed. And so therefore Baby Yoda survived and has come out of the world between worlds and was found by another great Jedi Master who still has to meet Luke yet. And of course, they're all guys because girls don't count in Star Wars. So there you go, guys. Go ahead and report that to Newsweek, all right? Take that Star Wars news and put it where it deserves to be. Lies are lies, folks. Garbage is garbage. Garbage news is garbage news. Doesn't matter if you like it or not, even if it sounds good. Look, I love the Loch Ness Monster. I'm just gonna end up like spoiling my whole video. But you remember the Weekly World News? We used to go in the newsstands and everything, and the newsstands would have like, you know, the crazy tabloid stuff. One of my favorite things is the Loch Ness Monster. I just love the idea of the Loch Ness Monster. Whether or not it exists, I don't know. Okay, I have no idea. But you know what? I'll never forget. There's a big picture of this dinosaur-looking creature under the water, right? And and this diver is like swimming next to it, and they're like, "Oh, the Loch Ness Monster was found! Yay, yay, yay!" I mean, Loch Ness is the murkiest, darkest water ever. You would never get that clear of a picture, even if it was in there like that. It's all lies, folks. Even if you get excited about it and you like the idea of it, it's still lies. And that's here. I mean, bringing this back around with Joss Whedon. If Joss Whedon was treating these people in the way that he was treating them like that, he absolutely deserves to get blown up by Ray Fisher. He absolutely deserves for Ray Fisher to put him on blast and to say, you did this. You messed this up. You treated us this way. You rewrote this movie into oblivion where it didn't even seem recognizable anymore to the original content. You messed this up along with Jeff Johns. You guys screwed this up. You need to be held accountable. That's where we're at, folks. That's what needs to happen. And that's what is happening. I want to get where I am. Michael Castillo says, don't get me wrong, Jeff is a fantastic comic book writer, but I don't know what he did with the DCEU. Hey, Stargirl is Jeff's idea, and it's the closest show to the actual comics, and for that, the show is great. I agree, Michael. I definitely agree with that. Let's see. True 31, even a little jab will make the fans laugh. Truth 31 says, "Hey Enosh, are you going to live stream Justice Con and DC Fandom? My body is ready for those events." Yeah, probably. That's my plan. As long as everything works right and things are good, we will be live streaming during that time. Is there any other villain in the DC universe that's more powerful than Darkseid? Andrew, that's a good question. I wouldn't say villain, probably. Darkseid is kind of the. I mean, there are. I will say this: there are. My numb mouth still from getting my my teeth done today. It depends on how you look at it, because if you want to talk supernatural, technically the devil exists in the DC universe. Satan exists in the DC universe, and that's a whole spiritual side. God technically exists in the DC universe. So, I don't know. But if you talk actual villain, I mean, he's right up there. What's up, Jeff? Jeff Glaffelty. Good to see you. And we're gonna start closing up here. But Andrew says, I don't know a whole lot that's going on, but why is Ray upset with Joss? I figured WB was to blame for it since Justice League, since they brought in Joss and made him write a new script. Yeah, Andrew, basically it just comes down to they used Zack Snyder's tragedy with his daughter dying as an excuse to fire Zack. And they brought in Joss thinking that they could just totally revamp it. Jeff Johns brought in Joss thinking that he could totally just revamp it and make it into his own image and get away with it. And now the truth is coming out. And now it's coming out that Joss was mistreating the people involved making the movie. And it just is what it is now. And now they're getting called on the carpet for it. And that's a good thing, I think. The ambassador says the Anti-Monitor is a more powerful villain than Darkseid. That's a good point. I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah, you do. You got the Anti-Monitor and the Monitor. Yeah. Let's see. Well, Nick said they had more fighting time against a green figure. Vassar says the world between worlds. Yep. Cylon Scotty says Enosh has some opinions here. You're a good man, sir, says Hector. The ambassador says yes, he is. Thank you, guys. Jeff says it's all the people that hated the trilogy that's pushing the hype. Exactly. Baby Yodel. And this has to do with the future of Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy, George Lucas, Butch Cassidy, and the Sunshine Kid, Chris Terrio, etc. Exactly. Kathleen Kennedy is an ideology that cares more about her altar of female empowerment than the product she was brought on to create. Bring on someone new. Disney needs a new leader for Star Wars. So I'll just say this, man, a Martian. This is how I feel about it. Kathleen Kennedy is not the evil that everyone makes her out to be. And I will just say this: everyone who loves anything Star Wars, if you like The Mandalorian, you have to give props to Kathleen Kennedy. See, this is what I don't understand, and this is what I think people keep missing. Kathleen Kennedy is the head of Lucasfilm. She is the president of Lucasfilm. She is the boss. People act like there's like this hierarchy that, she is the top. She doesn't report to anybody in there. She hired Favreau. She hires Filoni. You might not like everything she does, and I agree with that. Look, I don't agree with everything she does. And at this point, I do agree that, like, when her contract is up this coming year, she probably needs to step back, let somebody else take it, and let Star Wars heal and move on, because the people who do feel bitter towards her. And I think that's the beginning, right? Just like in The Force Awakens, right? This will start to make things right. But I have a real hard time blaming her just for everything wrong with Star Wars and people acting like it's just all on her, because if you like the good, you got to take the bad. It's the facts of life. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have Star Wars. It is what it is, and not every decision that's ever been made in Star Wars is good. And I know that people all of a sudden are like trying to rewrite the history on the prequels, but the prequels had a lot of bad stuff in them. George Lucas made a lot of bad decisions. And this idea of like, oh, we'll finally get George Lucas's vision. Guys, have you seen that stuff? Have you seen that stuff? I don't want 3 movies about midichlorians and little kids running around. That's just, I just have a real hard time with that. I just really do. And I don't want to skip Michael Castillo's comments, but I just saw Trey Harper's pop-up says, I hope Dave Filoni becomes the head of Lucasfilm. He deserves it. So here's the thing. I don't actually hope that and I want to preface this. I love Dave Filoni. And there was a time where I said the same thing. Oh man, Dave Filoni, give it to Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni will take it and run with it. I don't want Dave Filoni to be the head of Lucasfilm, and here's why. I want Dave Filoni in the trenches making the content. See, there's a difference, folks. People are getting these jobs mixed up, right? There's writers, there's directors, there's producers, and then there's presidents of companies. All this stuff that like this news that you hear that's like Kathleen Kennedy involved in the writing of this and that. That's not. She ain't involved in that. She ain't part of the writers group. She's not a writer. She's not in the Writers Guild. That's a freaking union, folks. She literally can't. She is not in the writers union. I mean, when you have the writers strike and all the writers go, we're not going to write anymore. Kathleen Kennedy ain't part of that. How many writers strikes have we had? Right? We've had tons of writers strikes where like everything gets shut down because the president of the company can't come in and write a story. Like seriously. Right? So like I get like people have to have a central figure to go off on. Right? And she can suggest things. She can definitely suggest things and put suggestions out there and be part of the groups. But what people forget is, like, I don't want Dave Filoni to have to run the company. That's not what we want, folks. Trust me. I know that it sounds like what we want, but it's not what we want because Dave Filoni makes excellent content. And Dave Filoni is just now. You got to remember, Dave Filoni has been an animation guy. Yes, he tells excellent stories, but Dave Filoni has been an animation guy. And I stand by Dave Filoni. I stand by his version of what the Force is. And I know that people didn't like it, but like his version is George Lucas's version, which is also the version that Freddie Prinze Jr. talked about. Okay, Dave Filoni stands by that. And there's a lot of people who don't like that. But that's where he got it, is working with Dave Filoni. So the thing is, Dave Filoni's been an animation guy. Dave Filoni is now just starting to dip his toes into live action, man. And that's a good thing. Let him do that. Let him do Mandalorian. Let him do some of these other live action projects on DC Plus, right? Or on Disney Plus, I'm sorry, on Disney Plus. Let him do those things and then move on to like a movie or something. You know? I want to get back up to Michael Castillo's thing because that's more on topic here, but because it's easy to talk Star Wars, folks. I mean, look behind me, right? I got a Justice League, or I got a Hall of Justice right here with a bunch of DC stuff over here, and then over here I got Star Wars stuff. So it's really easy, and like we can do a whole live stream about Star Wars, and I got no problem with that, and maybe we will. We'll just have to do something about Star Wars and talk about Star Wars. But there's a lot more parts to it. Then I think people think it's just as simple as like get rid of Kathleen Kennedy and all will be okay. And it's just that's not it, you know. There's just a lot more parts to it. Michael Castillo says, I never thought I would ever see Bruce Wayne smile, and yet I did. It felt weird, and when they showed Batman on the ground with his legs all crooked after Superman completely punked him, I was done. That was a weird scene, man. That was so weird. I feel the same way. Michael Castillo says, Santa Claus also exists in DC Comics, and supposedly he leaves coal for Darkseid every year for Christmas. You're right. You're right. Santa Claus exists. Superman has helped him. It's in there. You know, it's comics, guys. You know, it's comics. Those are points that like we don't always talk about, right? So I'm gonna get I know there's a couple more Star Wars comments here. I'm going to read through those real quick, and then we're going to close up shop here. It says, but we're not talking about scripts and dialogues. We're talking about broad strokes. She claimed to be a part of those, so stop saying she's not responsible for the sequels. I didn't say she wasn't responsible for the sequels. I'm saying she's not solely responsible for the sequels. And she didn't write them. She claimed to be a part of them because she's the president. That's all I'm saying, Slaith. I'm not saying that she's not responsible for them, because she is. She's the president. She's responsible for the good. Please hear what I'm saying. Don't hear something else. Don't hear one thing that I'm saying and not listen to all of it. Never said she wasn't responsible for it. But I'm saying if she's responsible for those, she's responsible for the good stuff you like too. Does that make sense? She's responsible for all of it, but she doesn't write the stuff. Okay? Yes, she probably has to approve a lot of it, but also people above her have to approve that stuff as well. But she reports to the Bobs. I mean, Bob Chapek is really not in like in the scene. He's technically a CEO, but he's not really working in that capacity. Bob Iger came back. She's been reporting to Bob Iger this whole time. She doesn't report to anybody else. But there's this idea that somehow like there's this infighting and Jon Favreau is banned her from the sets of The Mandalorian. She's the president. She ain't getting banned by Jon Favreau. She hired Jon Favreau. You don't hire somebody and then that person tells you can't come to the workplace. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like all these stories don't make any sense because people don't understand the hierarchy. They don't understand the process, right? And they want to blame her for everything, yet not give her any kudos for anything. And it goes both ways. And so all I'm saying is we got to think about it completely and not just the things that we don't like or we like. We have to think about the whole thing. Slate says nobody is asking for perfect quality. We just wanted a story that honored the characters and their legacies. Well, look, that's a whole other story that we can get into in another time. And actually, you know what, Slate? I would actually encourage you and invite you. I would love to talk to you about it personally. I do these call-in sessions where we do these videos, these live videos, and I'd love to talk to you about it. We do it via Zoom right now. This month, I'm looking to change that over to a program called StreamYard. If you're familiar with that, maybe it's really simple. All you got to do is make a screen name, and then you can jump right in, and you can do that on your phone. You can do on your computer, whatever. And you don't even have to show your face if you don't want to. You can just come in with audio. But we can have a conversation about that because there are a lot of things about the sequels that I think people they say are not respectful to the legacy, and I'll agree that there are some things that are definitely not respectful to the legacy of some of the characters, but overall I think there's some different stuff. It says they were literally and figuratively butchered. This is the reality we live in now. Mandalorian being good is irrelevant with what they did to George's films. George did some stuff to his own films too, though, so there's that too. And honestly, George sold it. Just saying. You sell something, you don't have a say in it anymore. So that's a whole other discussion, though. And I'm willing to have it. It's a good discussion, for sure. Slay says, Zack Snyder's Batman was also a lot more lighthearted in Justice League. The jokes in the first trailer are not going to magically disappear. Yeah, that's the thing, man. He did not... Batman didn't seem like Batman in Justice League. He went from being one thing. He went from being super hard, and I get that he had a turn of heart. I get that, okay, because I love that story. But the jokey thing, like Superman literally almost kills him when he comes back to life, and he's making jokes and quips and stuff. It's just too jokey. It's just I love jokes. Hey, I love a good joke, man. I love a good funny thing when they're fighting. When all the Justice League is fighting Superman, when Superman comes back and he's literally holding them all at bay, and the Flash runs by and looks at him, and Superman looks out of the corner of his eye. That's an amazing thing. It's funny. The look on the Flash's face is hilarious. And it's fine in that setting, but there comes a point where there's too many jokes. Let's see here. Let's finish this up. Manna Martin says the "I'm rich" joke is the only one. The rich joke was Snyder. Yeah, I like the rich joke. Snyder or not, I like the rich joke. Let's see. Slate says talking about the more, or more less. So you talk to fish, etc. Not the terrible Whedon jokes. Whedon cut out all the Snyder jokes. Yeah, I mean jokes are good. Jokes are good. But I want good jokes, right? I want good jokes. So hey guys, I had to jump on. We had to do this. We've done like an hour and a little over an hour. And so thank you for joining me. I love your opinions. I love talking to you guys about this stuff. This is always fun. And I love doing it live. And I debated whether or not just to make a video just about this or do it live, and decided to do it live. Talked to Isaac about it, and Isaac said, yeah, you should do it live. And so we did it this way. We were able to talk. And look, this is just what's gonna come next. I almost guarantee you this story is not done. This story is not done. There will be more to this story. There's going to be more stuff to go over. And I hope you come back. I hope you come back and we have more conversations about this as this story unfolds. More tweets, I'm sure. More revelations. Stay tuned. Same bat time, same bat channel. We're going to go over it, man. We're going to cover it because that's what we do here in the Poindexter Lounge. And we are glad to have you here in the Poindexter Lounge. Also, look for a little announcement video later because today is the 1st of July. And so we are giving away the June giveaway, which was the Weird Al Yankovic DVD. All right. So we'll be giving that away shortly. All right, guys, thank you so much for being a part of the Poindexter Lounge. Always appreciate your opinions, even if they're not my opinions. That's what makes the Poindexter Lounge an awesome place, because it's a place where nerds can get together. It's a place for nerds. It's a place where you and I can get together and talk about the things that we love, like TV shows, movies, games, sci-fi, fantasy, superheroes, comic books, Star Wars, Star Trek, toys, and everything in between, and so much more. And so you guys make it fun. You guys are always the focus, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, my name is Enosh, a.k.a. Enosh Fett, saying, dang, just treat people right if you direct a movie. And God bless you, Ray Fisher. Until next time, bye-bye.